Welcome in, welcome in, welcome once again to the newest edition of 3 In, 3 Out, the most unique Seahawks recap show in the multiverse. I am your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brendan Schultz. Brandon, I got on a plane to Florida. All was well with the world. Our Seahawks were 6-3. I arrived on Sunday. We lose a really dumb game to the Rams, which we're not going to go over right now. We took a short week and said, okay, no 3 and 3 out. Right. And a couple of days later, with friends in my living room down there in Florida, about 8 or 9 or 10 people in the living room, all bellies full and hearts happy. And then we watched the Seahawks get waxed by our biggest rivals, the 49ers. So in 5 days, I come home with my tail between my legs, 6-3 to 6-5. I'm not feeling so good right now, Brandon. Thanksgiving was great.
Yeah.
The football in between all that was not.
Well, this is a new piece of data. I did learn something. It means that now whenever we face in-division opponents, you can't travel to Florida. That's just going to be the rule from now on because it happened once and we want to make sure it never happens again.
It's listen, I don't make the rules. I just follow the math, right? So they say, trust the science. I'm going to trust you on that one. It wasn't great. And I rewatched it a couple hours ago. We're recording this now on Saturday night, my time. And I rewatched it and there were pockets of good as usual with our Seahawks.
Right.
There were some pockets of actually really good. And then
like when it happened in real time.
just the same. This time with a skip 10 button, skip 10. Just this time, or really that time too, just the glaring, ginormous mistakes, and we can't get out of our own way. And what else is new already? A couple of other things I wanted to say out of the gate here. Going back to the Rams real quickly, when we lost that Rams game, and some people were like, oh my gosh, that's it. Our season's over. And some people were like, oh, it's not really that big of a deal. I was way more in my heart and brain towards, this is a horrible loss because of what was coming up. My expectations were not that we'd beat the Niners. I think we're going to beat every single team, but at my heart of hearts, I would not have bet, that Seattle was going to beat the 49ers. And they did not. So I kind of expected the loss, not the way we lost, but the loss. The other thing is, Kyle Shanahan is really good at picking on weaknesses. Like play one, he's got Bobby going horizontal versus Deebo Samuel. Right. And I have an out later we'll talk about with a certain player, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Things started showing up and I'm like, man, this might get picked on later in the year. And it came home to roost. And the last thing I will say is I personally am firmly on we should make a mid-season right now change, and Shane Waldron should not be our OC. I am on that corner. It took me weeks. It was building for me. And I know this is the hot moment, and I realize it could change back next Thursday when we play Dallas. But right now, this offense to me feels legitimately broken, a big-time regression from last year. Yeah. And I think it's primarily the OC's fault. And before we get into the ins and outs, just wanted to see if you had any opinion, because it seems to be the biggest topic of at least this week for the Seahawks.
I have a hard time putting it entirely on Shane Waldron to the point to where I would take his job, because I feel like he's having to play call with the middle of the field tied behind his back. Like if it's not a Pete Carroll issue by now, like we haven't figured it out that OC after OC after OC can't use the middle of the field, it's got to be a Pete Carroll issue. And so I think I give him a little bit of grace, although, and here's the thing, I think that the offense either needs to choose to run the ball more or throw to the middle of the field more. Like one of those two things has to happen, because it can't just be throws outside the numbers entirely.
Yeah, I know we got some from the flock later. And I know that gets called out there for sure. It seems to me the only time our offense looks like we're in a groove, and in this game, this is not part of the ins, not part of the outs, so it's extra anyway. Otherwise, I would just cover it later. It just looks to me like, okay, late second quarter, when we get into that 2-minute drill or just before that, and then we come out of the half and we look okay. and we're using the middle of the field. And how do we start? It's Disley for 21 yards. It's a DK slant. It's Tyler finally getting involved
Right.
over the middle of the field. And then these giant.
But what does Waldron get? Like 2 or 3 of those a game? Like, is he limited on the number of times
That's
that
what
he
I'm
can
saying. Right.
use the middle of the field?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the Hunger Games. They have to fly it in by, via drone. And he gets like this chance to do this thing once or twice. Like, what's going on? Other teams do this all the time. And again, back to Shanahan just picking out weaknesses. Play one was Debo matched up against Bobby and come right across him horizontally and run into daylight. And CMC did it. George Kittle did it. Ayuk did it. It's just, hey, they're a very good team. So this is not about the Niners. This is a Seahawks pod. We'll get into the ins, the outs. There is quite a bit of good here, or at least some good here. There's just
enough at least to fill out the half of the show that we need to balance this out with.
There is that. And let's get to some balance too. One thing I thought was super cool was the live reaction show, Brandon. That's almost like 3,500 views in, bunch of new subscribers, some new members of the flock. And I just thought it was kind of neat, dude, that like, even in these darkest hours of the season, potentially, hopefully darkest hours of the season, it seems like the Hawkra is still rather strong. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think especially, the support has been great. It's the one thing that it's always kind of dreading a show, especially like that, because when there's really nothing to point toward as positives, like you can say, oh yeah, Jackson Smith and Jigba, like he made a really great catch. Nice catch. Jordan Brooks, like, yeah, you got your touchdown and pick six. Those are two things that, they were cool moments, but when it is that bad of a beatdown in a game, it's hard to show up. But then when people are all kind of coming together, I think that's the reason why people show up for those, is because, okay, we can all kind of be in that moment together, and it stinks, but we're all going through it.
Yeah, I agree. And it's this Seahawks season still at 6-5 and still actually probably likely to make the playoffs, more than not make the playoffs at this point. It's got some teams now nipping at your heels, like the Rams, like the Packers, all of a sudden, right? With all that, still probably likely to make the playoffs. There's been like these giant stories, like, Gino versus Drew and K9 versus Charbonnet. And now, is it Shane? Is it Pete? Like, who should go? The Thunderdome, 2 men enter type thing. It's interesting, and it just shows you again how long NFL seasons actually are. They feel short because life goes quick, but there's so many subplots. There's so many things, that little idiosyncrasies. And this one has been it's been a drama fest. This has been a drama-filled year, and we're only in 11 games so far. So it's going to be a lot of stuff. With that, though, the flock has been awesome. The flock continues to grow. And if they want to get involved, how should 12s, join us? What should they do?
Yeah, if they want to join in, especially if they want to be part of our Discord community, you can go to getintheflock.com. If you've done that in the past and made it into the Discord and had issues with getting kicked out routinely, whether it's either through getintheflock.com or joining through YouTube, I think I figured it out. I think I finally figured out the issue, so people shouldn't get routinely kicked out. So if you are in that camp, join back in, or hit me up for a link if you need another link, and we'll get that worked out for you.
Yeah, the Discord is still a ton of fun on game day. And hey, when we're losing, there are opinions, right? It just is what it is. We even have a negative town we set up. But with that, though, when we're not playing so hot, it's not always going to be sunshine and lollipops. That's life. With that, we still have a lot of fun in there. We still have a lot of fun. We do rejoice with the great play, the good plays, and we just it's just a good vibe of good folks who again are bonded by this team, and it's global, which is super sweet too.
Well, it's funny how and just to give you some behind the scenes for people listening, if you're not part of the Discord, like Negative Town evolved because there's people who really like to try and predict negative things. And so it's not so much reacting to the negative things that are happening. Right. The Negative Town is more for those people who either want negative things to happen because things are going poorly, or they just predict it because of their pessimism. So that's it's kind of evolved that way. We used to just have DCH and everybody allowed him to do that, and everybody wants to be him now. So, but there can only be one.
There is only one DCH.
He's our executive producer, so he gets to do whatever the heck he wants.
Yes, and the creator of the reverse jinx, he has his place and he plays it well. So with that, the Negative Town now exists in the Discord. Well, folks, join the Discord, getintheflock.com, and also Ring of Honor out on Facebook. There's a lot of fun things going on. Not so fun was this game once again, Brandon, but there were some good ones. However, we don't get the win. We know we don't get to start with what we want to start with. We got to start with the out. Let's hit that whammy and get to our first out, please.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even set up the whammy before we started. Where is it? Here it is.
You had to put it in the other room.
I was unprepared.
Yeah. No, well, you're hosting. You got to host Thanksgiving, and the whammy is physical. It's sitting in a different room. It's a gong. Got to go pull it out. The whole thing already. So, all right. Well, I
had it in my drawer. It wasn't far. I just.
Gotcha. Had to go get it. Look at this, Brandon. Out one. I made this thing. So basically, so I don't get lost. Let's see if this works. So
this is like what all 22 could be.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Hey, NFL. I did tweet this. I was like, hey, it'd be super cool. Listen, the little data overlay, that's good. That'd be really cool. I would like to be able to change between interfaces. So if I'm watching whatever Fox or CBS, and I could just hit the button that just says toggle to all 22 and kind of like Paper Mario style going 2D to 3D. Yeah. It just changes right at that spot and takes me to all 22. Like that would be cool. But anyway, who wants to listen to me besides all of you? All right. So out one, it is Q1 7-3 ball game. Obviously Niners come out on fire. We win the coin toss. I think we won the coin toss. I think we defer.
Yeah, we did.
They march right down and they score. All right, but 7-3 now, 3:02 to go. The Niners at Seattle's 45-yard line. By the way, they started this drive on the 45-yard line because Gino tripped over Charbonnet. We ended up punting basically from the end zone, and they caught the ball at the 45. So let me bring this up on screen.
Out goes to Sharbs for tripping Gino.
Yeah. So this is going to be one of the dude. Yeah. Right, exactly. So it's a 1st and 10. Purdy's back in shotgun. They do this. So the Niners do a lot of cool stuff, right? They bring Debo in motion off of the edge on like an orbit motion around Purdy. They fake the handoff to him. CMC starts right. It's a bit of almost like a counter, gets the ball, goes left. And if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast, I've got the arrow right now on Tariq Woolen. Mm-hmm. This is perfectly defended. This is nicely defended, conceptually. Let's put it that way, right? Like this is set up for us to have just a 2 to 3 yard CMC gain here. Adams does his job, interior's doing their job. And as I kind of filter forward here, what we end up having is CMC puts a little bit of a juke. It's not the biggest juke. It's not that ridiculous of a juke in my opinion. Yeah. And the bottom right one I just show you is Woolen trying this wavy arm tackle on CMC, and he ends up going for 12 yards on this play or something like that. Something stupid. He had a bunch of those in this game. That doesn't really matter. Brandon, Tariq Woolen's regression, and maybe it's just the exposure from all the big plays last year and so many interceptions. Maybe he just never really could tackle. This is what I'm talking about when Kyle Shanahan picks on people. He runs this play to Woolen's side, knowing it's a one-on-one matchup, knowing the chances of Woolen tackling CMC are probably less than 5%. Yeah. Because he's a bad tackler. He's bad at tackling, man. So Woolen's going to get this first out. He ends up getting benched later in the game. And in my opinion, he deserved to be benched. He deserved to be benched, Brandon, which is horrible to say. Would never have thought this at this point in the season last year, when it was oh man, we have a legit Pro Bowler on our hands. He got benched for Mike Jackson, who came in and played better. So Woolen's got to wear this first out. He was not good in this game, man.
Well, Woolen was on the injury report with a shoulder injury, and according to Pete Carroll, that is why they took him out, was because of that shoulder injury. But
I don't buy it.
I was concerned on this play that he did not, the shoulder injury was so bad he didn't have the ability to operate either of his arms. But I see by the freeze frame that you actually show him working one of his arms, at least it's up in the air. the weird thing about this too, and he didn't even register a missed tackle on this play. Like he was that far off that it didn't even count. Now, and I know he's supposed to set the edge. I think that I don't know. Jamal looks like he's also in the frame and he's getting blocked pretty handily. I wonder how they could have played that. Maybe he didn't have to play that so far outside. Probably didn't have to play that so far outside.
And he wasn't like the freeze frame, it's a freeze frame. So it's going to be a little bit overcritical or less than, depending on when I end up capturing it. Like, it's just CMC makes this little jump left, but it's not that dynamic of a jump. And Woolen just hook, line, and sinker, and he gets himself so off balance. The thing is, he's not a willing tackler. So it doesn't it's not like he got juked. It's like,
to give him a little bit of credit, I don't think he wanted to get beat outside either.
I agree. I understand that. I get that he's got to set the edge, and Debo started on his side and went in motion, so he creeps in a little bit. I get all that. He's just not a willing tackler. And I actually ended up parlaying this with three plays later. This is that Juwan Jennings play where this is 3rd and 7, right? Spoon does his job, and what do I mean by that? Like, stops the guy 3 yards short of the first down. I went to a different screenshot on YouTube. Yeah. He stops Juwan Jennings 3 yards short, and he knows he has help coming over. Now, I don't blame Trey Brown for coming in and trying the peanut punch when he did, because Trey Brown also knows, oh, yeah, Woolen's right there. He's going to help out too. There's no way Juwan Jennings is going to spin out 3 of us, but Tariq Woolen just pushes Trey Brown out of the entire play.
So
doesn't touch Jennings at all. And then Jennings ends up spinning out of it and does get the first down on 3rd and 7 when this dude's like wrapped up. And
it was not too long after this that Woolen was benched.
It was a little bit longer, but not too long. You're right. Yeah. Because at the start of the second, he got bench blocked before the first half was over, right? I think. I know by the start of the second half. I don't remember
the exact moment, but it wasn't too. It was not too long after this that I noticed that it was Mike Jackson into play.
Yeah, and he played better. Now I wonder if this is going to be, hey, second year guy, wake up, or if this is going to be, we need to tackle better, and we're going to play another dynamic offense with ballers out on the field who are big dudes. You got to tackle like CeeDee Lamb. So we'll see. Got to be the first out. First of all, it was early in the game. Second of all, it was persistent. And third of all, it was just egregious. Like, we got to tackle, man. So unfortunately, Woolen's got to wear that out. Let us move on. Please, whammy, and we'll get to that in. Okay. All right. Well, never fun to start with an out, Brandon. And that's why 3 and 3 out exists. The sober yin, the raging yang. We can get to the fun stuff. There was some really good stuff. All right. This is going to be.
Hopefully I didn't take it all away by mentioning 2 plays right off the top that were good plays. Hopefully we get into some nooks and crannies here.
No, we ended up bobbing and weaving. We didn't touch any of them. So it was fantastic. Expertly done. And for folks out there, I prepare these. Brandon does not know what the heck I'm going to say. So it's live fire for Brandon on these, which, if you didn't know that, you should just be impressed, because Brandon knows his stuff. All right. Quarter 1, 5:46 to go, 7-3 ball game still. Niners at Seattle's 34-yard line. And let's go to the thing here. We got right? As we talk about here. Now we got Purdy once again in shotgun, CMC on his hip. They got kind of a bunch right formation. And now it's third. It is third down. I think it's like 3rd and long, actually.
Yeah, 3rd and 14.
3rd and 14. 3rd and 14.
There it is right on the screen.
There it is right there for us, right? 3rd and 14. So why I center on this screenshot before the next one is, this is the let's call it weekly. Leo Williams is a very good football player he's good, man. Like he's very, 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 very good at NFL football. And if we could just sign him and then figure out, well, what are we doing with the rest of the line? That's a 2nd round pick for a 30-year-old. I'm fine with. This guy's a really good football player. At this moment, Brandon, right here, he recognizes this is a screen. Like this is like here. He's locked on CMC at this moment. Purdy's just like taking his first step back. It's just after he gets the ball, and CMC starts to leak out to the left. And I'll just progress it one more forward there. And then the next shot shows CMC getting it. And then, oh, look at this, an open field freaking tackle by Leo. And it's a loss of like 6 yards, man. And they got to punt the ball. The defense, I know it was 24-3 in the first half. And I know I just spent 5 minutes saying we couldn't tackle or one player couldn't tackle. Overall, the defense, again, was not the biggest problem. They had challenges. With that, there are some shining moments in Leo Williams snuffing out the screen game here, Brandon. This delighted me. This guy's a baller, man.
He was the shining player on the defense. And I know one of the things that you don't look at either is the Pro Football Focus numbers. And it was Leonard Williams who was the top player for the Seahawks defense, registering 7 pressures on the day, had 2 quarterback hits and 2 stops. This is one of them. And just an overall good effort by Leonard Williams. And the other thing that kind of surprised me is looking at these numbers, 57 snaps out of the 66. Normally, the guys you see hitting the 66 snaps like every single play on defense are like defensive backs and Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
And for him and for Leonard Williams to be just 9 snaps short of being out there the entire time. Mafe was also close. Jaron Reed also close. But yeah, those guys doing a lot of work on that defensive line.
Yeah, a lot. Some might say overworked in some states, right? And Frank Clark doesn't play. They don't dress Frank Clark. So a couple of weeks into that experiment, and I think back to like people just like yelling at Adam when Adam was like, to him, he's like, and I was fired. I was fired up about it, but he was like, yeah, let's see it. He's like, he might be washed. And people were like, how can you say that? Look at Jaron Reed. And Adam's response was like, well, they're not all going to be Jaron Reed. They're not all going to have this renaissance year. And let's wait and see. But it was kind of meh. And a couple of weeks in, Frank Clark didn't dress. It's like, oof. So that's tough. And that just ticking back a couple of weeks now of watching this, it's like that Nwosu injury, it is so hanging over us still. We have not been right since that Nwosu injury. While we have supplemented and made the defensive line undoubtedly better with Leo, like absolutely better. And now Draymond can play some edge, and it's a better defensive line. We still have not been the same without Nwosu. I knew it would hurt. I did not think it would hurt as much as it did, to be honest, even though he was our best defensive player last year. But it's been rough without Nwosu. So looking forward to getting that guy back next season actually we have to re-sign him. He's going to be a free agent, right? He was a 2-year. He was a 2-year deal. All right. We're not going to turn it into an out. We're not going to do it. All we're going to do is say Leo Williams, very good at football. Let's whammy. We got some more crap to get to. Yeah.
You're going way too slow for this, for my liking for these outs. Get into it and let's get out of it.
Fine. Speaking of crap, let's go. Out number 2. This one, it's okay. We all know when this is. It's 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. Defense does its job against 21-3. Niners are punting from their 15-yard line. And it's not that DJ Dallas muffs the punts. That ain't it. Sometimes people drop punts. He shouldn't. That's like your number one job, but he does.
He looked at it for a long time on the ground too. Like, should I jump on it or should I pick it up? And he didn't do either.
So my challenge with it is what you're centering on. I freeze framed three separate moments. Like that one looks even worse. And then there's the final one where he's here. He's almost Brandon. He's almost.
Oh
there's no illusion here. This isn't like it's not like it's like the Sphinx is actually 1,000 yards away type thing. No, he's almost petting the football. He's almost petting it like in this last screenshot. Then he decides from all fours to try and get up and scoop it with this guy number 28, Luter, in his at that point in his grill. So. Again, it's not I know it's not a nook or a cranny, but it's the mistake within the mistake to compound this to be like, what were you doing? Like what? It's 21-3. We're getting the ball back in good field position and we have the ball coming out of the half. Like we need to possess this ball and go score. We have to. And this is what you do. has to be an out, Brandon. Just has to be.
It's just one of those moments that we all entered the Matrix together, and like time slowed down for all of us to a standstill, and we're like, and we're all thinking the same thing. Is he going to jump on it? Is he going to grab it? And DJ's thinking the same thing. Like, I'm this close. I could probably get up and pick this up and go forward. And then the worst thing possible happens.
Yeah. And then you get Collinsworth. I know I'll get bashed for this. I like Chris Collinsworth. I think he's the best color person in the entire NFL. I know I'm going to get killed for that one, but he actually has really good points, and he breaks down plays before I even see them. And his point was, he goes, it's the NFL. He's like, you just can't take that chance. You can't try and scoop it in the NFL. You just can't. And Collinsworth, chortle and all, was right. And so DJ's got to wear this out. And because you requested it, let's move the heck on. Let's go. And I don't blame you. You're right. You're right. Let's get to something good. All right. So
it's just you. It's like you're DJ Dallas, but you're trying to take a Band-Aid off. And you're like, do I rip the Band-Aid off, or do I pull it really, really slow?
Yeah.
And it's that indecision I have to get you to move on from.
You're right. You're 1000% right. All right. So, okay. In number 2, this is going to be the weekly dose. I'll say it, Brandon. This is the weekly dose of Devon Witherspoon's really good at football. Also,
yeah.
he's really good, man. Holy cow, this guy's good. The tackles, the pressure, the coverage. He's unafraid to hit. He's the exact opposite. A very, very willing hitter and tackler, along with Jamal Adams, for that matter. All right, so this is Q2, 6:51 to go. Purdy's in shotgun. This is when Ayuk is in the slot left, and Purdy gets a really, really nice pocket here. And I bring this up on screen again. So Purdy gets a beautiful, beautiful pocket. The Niners do some interesting stuff here. They got CMC back blocking. They also got Juszczyk back blocking. Their fullback is in there, and he gets this beautiful umbrella pocket. Look at the lane. Look at the lane Purdy has to look at here. I mean, it's insane. And I highlight, or at least I sticker with an arrow. That's Tariq. He's covering, I think that's Debo. I think so, like crossing over the middle, and then he has to pass him off. And then, Purdy airmails this thing to Ayuk 20-something yards downfield. And in this play, Witherspoon he turns around, maintains momentum, and at the very last second, he throws a right arm out there. And I screen captured this, and he deflects this ball, like Neo from the Matrix style, without even looking. Like it's so talented and so good. And people are like, he got lucky. Luck's a part of it and all that. This is a skilled ball player with incredible instincts. And I don't think he's burnt. I don't think he's burnt. I think this is a very, very well run play. He's just so darn good, dude. So I'm giving the love to 21 and Witherspoon, and hoping you're feeling the love too. The loving spoonful there, Brandon.
I'm glad you commented about the luck piece, because I saw so many 49ers fans are like, oh, what's, because I think there was someone who highlighted it out on Twitter, and they're like, why are you highlighting what was essentially a lucky play? No, it is not luck to be Devon Witherspoon and watching the receiver's hands and knowing that the ball is going to get there, because he's bringing up his hands to catch the football. So I'm going to put up my hand in this general area, in case I deflect it. And okay, so to that point, yes, there's a little bit of luck that it happened to hit it exactly, but he got his hand into the general area where he knew the football was going to be, because the receiver's hands were coming up to catch it.
Yeah, who gets, what this sounds like or feels like. I watch a lot of hockey. When a goalie is whatever 2-on-1, or there's something where the goalie just has to, it's desperation, but they throw the stick out there, and then they make a beautiful stick save, like literal just against the stick save. It's not luck. Like, they're putting it in the most logical place they possibly could put it, given what they're seeing. And in this case, Witherspoon just going off of instinct, and like you said, seeing what Ayuk is doing with his hands and where he's doing it, and then making a calculation in real time, be like, well, about here, right? And that's skill. And considering the position he was in the frames before to make this play, dude, this guy's good, man. Witherspoon is an absolute stud. He's somebody to build around. I'm also not as much as I'm on the Waldron should be fired, and I do think he should be. And right now,
Mhm.
I'm also not on the this season's over. I just see enough. There's enough goodness here that if we cut the crap out and play consistently, we can beat good teams. Maybe it starts Thursday. So, all right, that's a beautiful, beautiful in. Love it. We got one more stupid out to get to. Let's do it, Brandon.
Rip it off. Just go.
Yeah, let's see. What did I do here? I think I might have botched this thing. Let's see.
Oh,
Yep.
great.
No, it's okay. I could skip forward and then move back. That's all right. Out number 3. All right. So Q4, 24-13. It's early Q4 now, and we have momentum. This is, freaking JSN was held beyond belief on the end zone. That absolutely was PI. It should be a 7-point game. That's a touchdown. Like it's not.
Were you blaming this game on the refs, Clinton? Were you blaming it on the refs?
No, I'm not. It's just that it's a 7-point game early fourth quarter, because if he doesn't hold him in that situation, it's not just that it's like, oh, it's the ball's the one because it's a PI. No, it's a touchdown. Like it's a touchdown to JSN, the corner of the end zone, and Gino is
because he catches it, right?
Oh, if he doesn't get interfered with that ball's on the money.
But if they call pass interference, then we
it's
have
at
it
the
on the
1
1-yard line, and then they have to try and get in.
We
and
probably get it.
We would like to think that we get in. Yes.
Maybe we don't run a shotgun, draw.
We only had a 4th and 1 after a 3rd and 1, and we couldn't get either of those. But we could definitely have gotten in 4 tries, no penalties on 4 downs from the 1-yard line.
Like I was saying, we had the momentum. It's Q4, and so our drive starts out at the 13-yard line, and we get the ball back. This is after we get the field goal, not 6. Then we stop the Niners again. We get the ball back at our own 13. We get a dump off to Charbonnet. That goes for 7. We get a power run left to Charbonnet. That goes for our first down. All of a sudden, we're cooking with gas. We're at the 29-yard line. And then Brandon, it's these compounds and these compilations. It's back-to-back plays, and I put them both on screen. It's those first down 29. Charbonnet doesn't set his feet. He's out there kind of late. So maybe this is on Gino. You got to watch your guy. I'm not sure what the play clock was either, so I'm not sure if it was ticking down or not. I don't know.
He kind of jogged out there too.
He definitely
did not go out with purpose.
No. This is on Sharps, in my opinion. And then the very next play, well, the next one I don't really know. The next one to me is on Gino. It's that Charbonnet, like that inside screen.
Right.
But how do you throw that? Throw it at his feet. It's like you're losing 5 or 6 yards there and then burning 40 seconds. You lose yardage, and you can't sacrifice time, or at least 20 seconds.
Yeah.
But Gino throws the ball to Charbonnet, and then the whole drive falls apart. It ends up in like another 3rd down sack. Our 3rd down pass protection was dreadful. They were getting home on any 3rd and long or many 3rd and longs, and it was bad. And it's just it's a weird team, Brandon, where we could seem like we're getting going, seem like we get momentum, and then it's a false start, or then it's a mistake by Sharps in the first screen there, and we fall apart. The wheels come off in intra drive extremely rapidly, and we're not good enough to recover on like a 3rd and 12 or a 3rd and 8 or something like that and convert. Those are not happening. 49ers did that to us a couple of times. We did that to them like 0 times. So I'm not even sure who the out is for, but this was just the last, monkey wrench into the spokes, and we were flying over our handlebars. And this is when I knew Thanksgiving was over, man.
Yeah, I suppose you can give it to Zach for killing the momentum on this one, because I push back on that we aren't good enough to get it back, because they almost did. Shoot, on 2nd and 19, they throw over the middle to Tyler,
right? Yep.
And picks up 11 yards and puts them in 3rd and 8. And
then it's a sack.
And then it's a sack. But they were at least in position then to be able to pick up. And 3rd and 8 is probably one of those, now considering where they were on the football field, I don't know if you see a lot of teams, right, on 3rd and 8, then they run the football. And then they pick up, you can usually get about 6 yards because how the defense is spaced, because they're expecting pass and that sort of thing. But we're not that team.
Yeah, we've been talking about that for several weeks now. I think 5, 6, maybe even 7 weeks, where you're seeing some of the elite NFL teams treating 3rd down really differently. very differently because they know if they get within 4th and 1 and 4th and 2, they're going to go for it.
Yeah.
So, and we don't adopt that yet. Maybe next year we will. We are not in that, which is weird because what it's doing is 3rd, 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, all of a sudden becomes we might run the ball play for these other teams. For the
and
Detroit
not the
Lions.
Position of the field I would advocate for it too, which is why I kind of hesitated to bring that up because
I hear you.
We saw the Lions. We saw the Lions try and get tricky and go for it on 4th down in their own zone.
True.
And then
it's true. Yeah. Dan Campbell hates points. He seems to hate points. All right. I don't hate this next in. Let's get to it. I got to go backwards in my thingy, but that's okay. All right, let's get right to this last in here. So there was 2 times in the game where I was like, "Ooh, good for you and good for us." I'll call out the second time this happened. Q4, 7:51 on the kickoff. Yes, it's 31-13 at that point, but not this player's fault. It was right after the Ayuk touchdown. But I am going to give some love to D. Eskridge, my man.
Okay.
So D after and this is a double in, or it's an in configuring to one nice in. This one was a beauty. This is actually, I think, his better run back. It went for 37 yards. He right after this moment that I have on screen, he makes a beautiful jump cut right, and then it gets ends up getting like another 12 yards or something like that. He gets to the 37-yard line.
Yeah,
that's great field position. And I like the way he approaches the ball. He runs up with momentum. He's a good kickoff person. The first kickoff of the game, right after they marched right down, the Niners do and get 7. What do you get? 60-something yards, put us on the 30-something yard line. We go nowhere and get a long field goal. But again, not D's fault. Very Godwin, Godwin, help me out. Igwe-Buke, there we go. Very Godwin, Igwe-Buke-like in the sense that we get a dude back, in this case back, and he gives us a spark in a part of the game which is increasingly difficult to capitalize on because of rules for the most part. Most of them are so many touchbacks. So let's give some love to D. You also had the end around that went for 10 or 11 or 9.5 yards, something like that, whatever. Yeah. I'm not advocating for more D, like more Bobo, but in this role specifically, Brandon, I like what I see. I think he's a talented individual, and as a kickoff returner, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, and I know you just said you didn't want to advocate for more, but how many offensive snaps do you suppose that D. Eskridge was on the field for?
Okay, let's. I mean, I know it's at least one. So I'm going to go
at least one.
Yeah. I'm going to go with I was going to go with the cheeky answer of one.
That would be the correct answer.
Wow. I mean, that's interesting. He's on for one play, and he gets, whether it was a first down or a half yard short, I forget. Yeah, about 10 yards. And how much Bobo do we get? I know he had a reception, and he had a nice block. In fact, he has a good block. Yeah, he has a good block on that end around. By the way, he's the main blocker on D's end around. It's a nice block.
He was out there for 12 snaps. Yeah.
Okay. 12 is a good number. So I came.
I love Bobo in with the tight ends. One of the things that I think I'm going to do for the flagship show, I've been toying around with this idea, and I want to see how many snaps the top 4 receivers have versus the 3 tight ends and Bobo, just where that balance plays out and how it might result in the offenses and how well they do. Because I'm curious.
I'm game to check it out. I'd love to see, we still some of the things Waldron has, I think, done well, which I still like, are the inventive uses of the tight ends and the formations in the backfield. Let's if you're lumping Bobo in, let's put Bobo in. Let's see him back there. So it's like Parkinson and Bobo and Charbonnet or K9 when he's healthy. Yeah. And the other piece I would really was hoping for. I was hoping for some Kenny McIntosh, Brandon. I mean, we got talk of McIntosh, and he didn't play, right?
McIntosh. No. Well, maybe if they would have got more of those first downs that we keep hearing about. maybe they had some McIntosh plays.
That must have been it. You had to get at least a 5th first down in the first half to unlock, like we've been talking about, to level up.
Didn't get unlocked.
Didn't get unlocked. We couldn't get the achievement to get Kenny McIntosh. It's interesting because DJ Dallas he spelled Charbonnet a little bit there. Even I think it was even after his egregious fumble. Why not Kenny McIntosh? Like, I mean, I know that dude can catch the ball out of the backfield, and I know he's really shifty when he gets the ball in his hands. I've seen it at Georgia, and I saw it in the preseason.
Right.
So Would have been cool, especially down big, to be like, well, let's try something new. And we didn't get that. Maybe we get it on Thursday, this next Thursday. One thing I do know we're getting, Brandon, I know we're back to the throwbacks on Thursday. That much I
Hey,
do know. So, I mean, I guess something's right in the world, right?
if we can go back to an alternative uniform that we are undefeated in,
Hmm.
I'm all for it.
Yes, I agree. Well, always undefeated is our From the Flock section. This is when we go into the Discord and we get the ins and the outs from you, members of the flock who are, chiming in live during game day. We have an entire channel set up just for this. As Brandon said earlier, if you want to support the show, getintheflock.com. Of course, the YouTube likes, the audio subscribes, and really sharing this with all the 12s out there. Win, lose, or draw. We're going to be talking Seahawks 5 days a week during the season. Anyway, Brandon, why don't you kick it off? It's a familiar face at the top of the Discord because she's almost always first.
We've got Carr with the in saying, is that a punt? Recognizing that our defense has held the 49ers to punt the football. It took a little bit, but we got to see it.
Yeah, the defense, but that first drive was, I hate deferring and I don't like deferring against Kyle Shanahan, but it is what it is. And but you get what you get. And then they played okay after that scripted first drive. They played okay. We kept giving the ball, give him the ball at the 45, give him the ball at the 20, just let's crawl on all fours, give him the ball at the 20-yard line, DJ. All right, so we got Pete's double bubble going out. Our entire offense living on knife's edge. That is the boundary line. We talked about this, Brandon, like so much to the outskirts, so little usage of the middle of the field until it was kind of too late, actually.
We've got Scott Campbell with the out to Pete, Waldron, the entire offensive coaching staff, and also calling Waldron to be fired middle of the season. This isn't working at all. In throwbacks to the Cowboys.
Yep, that'll be fun. That will be fun. We got Ice Walker, which I'm not sure if that's a newer person in the Discord.
It is.
Okay, good. Awesome. Well, thank you for chiming in, Ice Walker. We love it. In defensive adjustments, they got to Purdy and we're making headway. I agree. Like they did adjust defensively, hence Clint Hurt not taking too much of a beating. Whereas out, offense wasted the defense by keeping him on the field. Out, offensive game plan was a joke. Out, Waldron should be fired by the end of writing this, and then he goes on for a few others as well. But again, I know that's the big theme this week or the last 2 weeks, especially coming out of the Rams game where we only put up 16 points versus a bad Rams team, and then 13, but not really. That's 6 by Brooks and then a couple of field goals. Basically nothing by the offense. I can't say he's wrong though. In fact, I'll say Ice Walker, I think you're right.
JSN Jiggy with it. Lisa coming in with the third quarter adjustments, lighting a fire under the defense and a little bit of offense. Out. Bombs to DK on the outside, ineffective and overused.
Yeah. Can't quite get the foot down. I still like DK quite a bit. I'm not going to rag on DK. I think DK is a very effective and really good wide receiver. I know he had 2 bad drops that they stunk. This is the second game in a row where, whether it's the second play of the game or not, or like the first drive, we drop an easy pass. Or maybe it was the game previous before the Rams too that JSN dropped. It might have been that. Regardless, though, like help your quarterback out. He put it in your hands, catch the friggin' ball. But Lisa's spot on. All right, we got Delwyn coming in from Australia. Says making it all the way from Australia to my second ever game. Out, losing to the 49ers. Yeah, in being seated in the end zone where we scored on the pick 6 from Purdy. Purdy gets, he's good, but look at the lane he had on that Ayuk play we were showing earlier, and then the Ayuk touchdown. Look at the protection he has. Then juxtapose that versus when he's on his own 3-yard line in a nasty environment, and we got Leo Williams breathing down his neck and about to get maybe a safety or a battle down pass. He melts pretty quickly too. Purdy's good, but just like every other quarterback, if a dude's in his lap, he ain't that great.
Right. We got I like to touch my Bobo with the out. Defense scoring more than the offense. We got quite out being surrounded by anxious Weiner fans. Out 2 minutes in time of possession in the first quarter. Out 15-ish total yards in the first quarter. All those things.
All those things, they're all correct. We got Lloydzilla, that's Hugh from the UK. Like we said, we got Aussies, we got Englishmen. It's a ton of fun in the Discord. Lloydzilla says, we won the second half. Is that right? Did we actually win the second half?
We did.
I guess we did. Yeah, because they only scored 7. All right, well, yeah, but we got back in this game. We actually did. I don't know about you. How'd you feel after the pick 6 and then after we got the ball back? Were you up on the couch a bit more? What was your posture?
I felt better about it. I would have felt a lot better had they converted instead of getting that touchdown, because I think that they really did need to get within 7 then to put a little bit more pressure on Purdy, because we saw Shanahan essentially turtle the offense and just hand the football off and dump the ball off to the outside, just so they wouldn't be putting the ball in danger over the middle again for the entire rest of the game.
Yeah, it would have been. It's just one of those what ifs. Like, it would have been really cool to see if we got within 7 with the touchdown in that stadium on Thanksgiving night. What it could have been. It would have been exciting. We got robbed of that, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
All right. Who's up next? It is
Frost, perhaps?
Frost. This team has some fight in it. We didn't roll over after the first half, came out trying to fight back into the game, and we didn't have enough to do it. That was an in. Also an in to Witherspoon all over the field. Watching this dude, I see the future of what this team can be.
Yeah, I think we all love Spoon. He's so good. And speaking of those throwbacks, I think if you're getting, I'd say majority of Seahawks fans, if you're getting a throwback jersey at this point, how could it not be Spoon, right? That dude's like everything you want in a football player. He's been a delight, and what a good draft pick. He's so good. All right, we got B-Wags biceps. The long and short of what he writes here is out. Charbonnet had 3 running plays all first half, and then he puts exclamation point 3 or 3 exclamation point. Brandon, you let out with it. I'm not sure that would have been so different. However, maybe commit and see what's what. I would have liked to have seen more short horizontal passing. Also, things we did a couple of weeks ago that seemed to work really well, that I think would have busted this, like, get kind of block, get the mucus, moving. And that's kind of gross, but I think you know what I mean. Either way, without running it to kind of chip away at it, and without using some short horizontal stuff, we didn't really stand a chance. And that kind of proved out, unfortunately.
Yeah. Lloydzilla out. What was that first offensive play? Set the tone, lacked clarity, lacked execution. Was that when he got tripped?
Oh, it might have been. I don't, hard tell, not knowing on that one. Unfortunately, that's the problem, is like, we don't know. Like there could be several where it's like, oh, that might have been the thing. And is this it?
The first offensive play, was it a busted play? Because Gino ended up taking it to the left and got just a yard.
Oh yeah, that's right. That very first play. It's like, is it Sharp supposed to be taking the handoff? It just looked ugly. It's like the Niners come out, look so crisp, right? Come down, get 7. We get the ball back after getting a great kickoff return. Again, a great kickoff return, and people are fired back up, and you have a busted play. And it's like, what? It's like, how? Like, what we know what play 1 is, right, guys? We scripted it. We talked about play 1. It's not like you're rushing to the line at the end of a half, and it's play 1, Brandon. The first play from scrimmage for your team offensively, and it's a busted play. And again, that might not be coaching. That might just simply be execution. I don't know, but again, I'm. It takes me a bit to get to my wit's end when it comes to coaches, and I'm there. So I think
you were Waldron's biggest cheerleader to start with, and now I feel like you've done a complete 180 on the guy.
I was, and it's been slowly chipping away. And the thing is, there has not been progression. It's been a regression, and it seems to me that when the league figured out what, our 13 personnel, boot Geno tight end levels concepts like that. To me, that's the last time we really grew, which was last year. And then we brought it back at the end of the year and we used it a little bit at the beginning of this year. And it seems to me like once that got figured out, he hasn't refound a groove yet. And that's your job. Your job beyond that, find the identity, establish an identity. And I don't think he's particularly strong at planning for other teams' weaknesses. And when you play McVay and Shanahan back to back, it just becomes really glaring who's good at that and who's not.
Right.
And McVay with a far, far worse team. They're not good. The Rams are not a good team. They're not very good at all. It's a bad roster in many, many ways.
Yeah, didn't they get hammered by the Cowboys? And the Cowboys hammer bad teams. So therefore, yeah, the Rams are a bad team.
That's it. If P then Q, right? It all checks out. So, but that was actually it, Brandon. That was all that was in there this week because I think people just I think so, right? That's all I'm seeing. So I think people were like, hey, I'm going to shut down now. and I don't blame them, right? So the Seahawks gave us a little bit of hope. They gave us there was a little bit of that surge, but it fell flat. And again, it's just back to that complete inconsistency. And I can't help but look at this team. And I realize we still have offensive line challenges. I know that I'm not, I'm watching, I'm observing. It's not great there yet. When Peters went out and Forsyth went in and they leave Forsyth on an island with Bosa, like that's
the whole right side of the line just got destroyed.
Oh man. I was also a big beefy boy Haynes guy and he's not been good. He hasn't been good. Right. So
Brown wasn't even that great in this game. So
yeah, I saw that as well. And I think, it's tough. It's tough right now. I still have this maybe it's a dumb optimist, but I'm still an optimist in every facet of life. And I feel, I don't know why, Brandon. I think we're going to beat the Cowboys. I do. I think we're going to win. I don't know. I think we're going to win this game. I think we're going to go down there and figure out a way to do it. The Cowboys have not beat a team with a winning record yet. And sure, if we lose, we won't have one either. And they've been really good at home, right? They've been steamrolling at home. And Dak is a literal MVP candidate at this point because it's a weird year. And also not to take away from Dak, his numbers are what they are. And they got Bland who gets a pick six every game basically. And yet I'm wildly optimistic in some way that we pull off this W and we get the season back on track somehow, some way. And if we go off the rails, how about this? How much does it take for you? Where are you with Waldron, and what would it take? What would it take for you to be like, yeah, you know what? Maybe the mob is getting the loud mob is right on this one.
I think it goes back to that idea of Waldron. I feel like there's part of him that is hindered by what Pete Carroll wants to do, and so I think that the mid game stuff, it's not great, and I'd be okay, but if it goes poorly these next few weeks, I just don't see a change that improves the team enough to then make them go deep into the playoffs. So I wouldn't make a change in season.
Yeah, I hear that. But just remembering too, there are 3 teams that now have done it this year, and all 3 of them are likely making the playoffs. Are very, very at least challenging for the playoffs, right? The Bills, obviously the biggest one with Dorsey, and maybe they've turned it around. Oh, look, they decided to give James Cook a bunch of touches. Well, I don't understand how you look at that player and not use him, but that's what the Bills were doing.
He's good.
And lo and behold, even against a good Jets defense, he goes off and so go the Bills. Matt Canada gets booted and the Steelers have a shot. They have a good record. They're not a very good team, but they got some players like Jalen Warren specifically. And then you got, Peterson, who took the playbook back, right? So didn't fire the dude, but basically was like, I'm taking back offensive play calling is my understanding of it. So that's 3 pretty significant moves with 3 teams that might make the playoffs. So I just don't think it's like so out of left field that it can't happen midseason, and it can't have an impact and an effect in the season. Now, the biggest thing is I don't think it's Pete Carroll's style. which is probably where you're coming down on that too. It's just that it probably likely won't happen yet.
And
We shall
also,
see.
all those teams that you mentioned, I don't think any of those teams are going to the Super Bowl.
No, probably not. Probably not. The Bills are still talented enough, in my opinion. Maybe not defensively, but they're still talented enough to make a run when you have the weapons that they do have. If they write their offensive, if they understand how to use James Cook and give Allen a balanced team where he just doesn't have to play hero ball, he could just be freaking awesome because he's freaking awesome. The Bills can go out there and I think beat any team. So we shall see. Steelers, no, I agree. Jaguars, not quite yet, right? So, but I mean, hey, aren't we kind of like them even more so, where the change might be warranted at midseason and see what you got, because maybe we aren't going to the Super Bowl, so see what you got now. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. We got to get through this gauntlet still, and we'll see how we do. One big thing I'll call out is we got Eagles versus 49ers, I think this weekend also, right? That'll be fun. Our game will be done Thursday. Let's hopefully we get this W down in Dallas. And then I think just as an NFL fan watching Eagles Niners, that'll be a very cool matchup. Of course, go Eagles. always beat the Niners. But that's going to be fun. That's going to be an interesting matchup. And I want to see those two teams go toe-to-toe healthy and see. It's kind of like two Titans, right? Two Titans of the NFC. Who do you think wins that game, by the way, Brandon? Any particular I think it's in San Francisco. I might be wrong though.
I don't know how it goes. I haven't put much thought into who might be better between those two teams, other than that I'll be rooting for the Eagles in this case coming up, and also in the eventuality that they face each other in the playoffs too, which I think is likely to happen. And so I'll get used to rooting for the Eagles a little bit early this season.
It might have to be we
might need them again.
Yeah, we might be changing our wings a little this season. It's very possible it could happen. And so we got What If coming up. We got the flagship coming up. We got PNW Prop Stars coming up. Win, lose, or draw 5 days a week during the season. We're putting out the content. So we appreciate everybody for hanging with us. Always fun talking Seahawks, even in a blowout loss at home on Thanksgiving. We get right back up, Brandon. And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.